Joining us now is entrepreneurial mentor and lifestyle coach Trish Tonaj to share her second book, Breaking Barriers, 10 Entrepreneurial Women Share Their Stories. Welcome, Trish.
Thank you.
Now, with so many women jumping into the entrepreneurial pool, this is certainly timely. But every day there's a new book about the challenges of starting your business. What makes this one different?
Well, for this particular book, I wanted to feature ladies who were doing extraordinary things, just ordinary women like you and I. And what makes this book a little different is they're talking about their life experience in addition to their business. So they're talking about how they got to where they are. Mm-hmm. So it's really quite interesting. We featured 10 different ladies from various different businesses. So one of them is, I don't know if you ladies have heard of Savoie de Soie. They're located in Toronto. They're a knitwear company. So it's a family-owned business. They have 6 stores in Canada, and it's a mother, daughter, and 2 daughters actually are running the business. So they do everything from designing to manufacturing to retail sales. So that's kind of a very unique story. And they talk about the family in business. So that's a little bit different.
What were some of the stories perhaps that surprised you the most?
The one that surprised me the most was Gloria Mcdonald. So Gloria was a matchmaker, and now she is a coach. And one of the things that happened to Gloria was with the advent of the internet, someone wrote a negative review about her business. And in 24 hours, she was out of business.
Wow. Pardon me?
Yes.
Is this matchmakers.com? Or something, or
Perfect Partners. And so that business is no longer in existence, and now she has Life Alchemy, which is a coaching business. So
what could take down a business in 24 hours?
You know, it was interesting. It was when the internet first started, and it was a negative review, and Gloria felt the effects almost immediately in her business. And so she reinvented herself and started Life Alchemy.
Isn't that amazing? Tell us a little bit about the Karen Schutt.
Yes, Karen is what you would call, it's a second act career. So Karen is just started a funeral home, her and her partner. And she took all of her life savings at 54 years old and decided that she was going to become an entrepreneur. And she's offering folks something a little bit different than the traditional.
It's fascinating. So
yeah, how did this come together?
Well, I was at Harvard last year taking a course in mediation and dispute resolution, and it was when I was talking to those other 47 individuals from around the world that we started to talk about entrepreneurial experiences and sharing stories. And we realized that we really don't have an opportunity to share stories anymore. We live in a very fragmented business world. We don't necessarily get to see our colleagues or the folks that we do business with face-to-face every day. Mm-hmm. And so it was as a result of attending that particular course that they convinced me that I should share some stories of some entrepreneurial women.
But you all share, all the women in this book share certain values, professional values.
Absolutely.
Providing mentorship and giving back through philanthropy. And in fact, this book gives back.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. I'm going to be donating all of the author royalties to SheEO, and they're a foundation that provides funding to new female entrepreneurs. And Vicki Saunders is the founder of that organization.
We've had her on, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I just felt it was a very worthwhile cause, so we decided that we would donate the royalties to that charity.
Well, don't you love their slogan?
I love it.
It's radically generous women creating a new economic model, and they do.
They absolutely do. And there's a link on my website to SheEO so that anyone who wants to become an activator, I am an activator as well.
Are
personally.
You?
So
have you found that rewarding?
You know, I've just started. So I met Vicki at a networking event a few weeks ago and thought, what an amazing opportunity to contribute something back to her. Her initiative is global, so it's not just regional or local. And so I became an activator, and I'm now just starting to meet some really great other entrepreneurs. So I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the toughest or the takeaway for you, the biggest takeaway in terms of the toughest challenges for many women in the entrepreneurial field? Because now they are making up the fastest growth sector.
Absolutely. One of the things that they have all said is the most difficult is finding work-life balance. So everybody's working extended hours. You know, it's not unusual for you ladies are very familiar with what it's like to work, 40, 50, 60 hours in a week trying to bring your dream to life. Mm-hmm. And so that was actually one of the biggest challenges for them is trying to balance family and business and trying to actually have a well-balanced approach to their life.
Now, when you started, did you find that the same? I think it's really a matter of prioritizing. What is the most important thing today for me, and making that list, and some stuff just isn't going to get done.
That's very true. And all of these ladies have had to sort of pare down their lifestyle in order to be able to reach their goals. And some things, as you say, just are included in the mix.
So if you had 3 tips. Have you got 3 tips that you can share?
Sure.
Okay.
Each of the entrepreneurs in the book actually share 3 words of advice. So
Okay,
I'll
perfect.
share my 3 words of advice, and that is trust your instincts. So one of the things I always say when I work with clients is, you know what, your gut instinct is always going to lead you in the right direction. So when you're facing a large decision, I usually say, does the decision feel heavy or light? And if it feels heavy, it's probably not the right thing for you to do at that time, and you may want to revisit that thing later. But if it feels light, then it's usually the right thing for you, and you should pursue it.
Okay, I'm gonna question you on that.
Sure.
Heavy and light. When you're making a big decision, you're scared. There's a lot riding on it. What does heavy mean to you?
Heavy usually means that it keeps you up at night. It's weighing on your mind. You're taking a look at the pros and cons list, and you just can't seem to make what you feel is the decision that's most comfortable for you. And eventually, when you get to the right decision, it will eventually feel light, and it just feels right. And that's what you should go with.
Even if you're up all night.
Even if you're up all night. Usually if you're up all night, it's because there's something that you haven't considered in your decision. So you sort of have to dig a little deeper.
That's tip number 1.
One of the other things that one of the ladies say, and I absolutely love, and this is from Erin, who is a restaurateur. So she has 5 restaurants and a boutique hotel. And I love her 3 words of advice, and they are, don't be shitty. And I think that they're really great words of advice only because we have to be nice to each other.
Yep.
And who doesn't want to be nice to each
matter.
other? Absolutely. And not just that, but you doing something kind for someone without anticipating that you're going to get something in return. So doing an act of kindness is really quite nice. And so I really loved Erin's 3 words of advice because I thought they were very unique.
Yes, they were. And we hope we don't get in trouble for that, but that's okay. Third one. You got one more? One more.
Words of advice?
Yeah.
I will use Gloria's words of advice, and they are choices, choices, choices. Because we all have choices to make in life, and they all lead us on a certain particular journey. And one thing that we do have to remember is that we have a choice.
We do.
Yeah.
A lot of people say you have a choice to be happy.
Absolutely. And I think all of these ladies are making that choice. And even though there's some tough decisions along the way, they're really enjoying the journey.
Yeah. Well, you make choices and there are consequences.
Absolutely.
And you have to live with them, but you have to make a choice and know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Now, this is your second book.
It is.
The first book was The Diary of Change, 12 Personal Tools, where you share your formula for assisting individuals to achieve that work-life balance. But you also have workshops and seminars, and you do keynote speaking, one-on-one coaching.
We do.
So how do people access you? Where do they find you?
They can find me on the internet. I have a website called phase2wellness.com. I'm doing some great keynote speeches for some ladies in the balance of this year in support of the book. So we're in support of women entrepreneurship. And also we do workshops and seminars working with leadership teams to help folks improve their communication skills.
Is communication a big deal today? You would think that with the internet and with social media, it wouldn't be.
You know, it really is, because I think one of the things that we find is the words that we use and the way that we convey them can sometimes be misinterpreted. And so having a really dynamic team that communicates very well usually means that they're making great decisions for the company and for themselves, and they feel really good about what they do. So it's just finding that dynamic with the various different folks that are working in the working world today and being able to come up with a formula that works for that particular team.
That's good. And the book, how do people get the book? We need to tell them that.
Absolutely.
That would be a communication skill, Kate.
The book is available at Chapters in Indigo. I've been very gracious that we've been able to do some book signings in those stores. And I do have a life-size sign that anyone who's purchasing the book can sign. And then we're going to present the life-size card to CEO when we donate the money next year. It's also available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us all about it.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been a real pleasure spending some time with you.
I'm going to go home and I'm going to read through my copy of the book.
Perfect.
We'll be right back here on The Jewel. Don't go away.